Hello and welcome to video number 4. We're going to talk about the backward email funnel. Now it's time to start mapping out your email series. So past this video, we'll actually begin to do the technical setup. So obviously, if you do not have an email series yet, then make sure to watch this video step by step, watch it twice, because we're going to show you how to create a high converting email funnel. Even if you have an email series that is already written up, I highly recommend that you watch this video because we're going to talk about some more advanced strategies that will help you create an email series that will get higher open rates and higher click-through rates. So if somebody gets your email, they're going to be interested and they're going to click through. So to speed things up, you're going to learn how to set up a backward email funnel based on what you wrote in video number 3. So if you didn't jot things down, then make sure you go back and do that. But of course, if you're a visual learner and you want to watch through everything first, that's fine too. Now, the point of the backward email funnel is to start at the very last email, which typically starts with "buy my stuff" emails. And it'll make more sense when I show a mind map and the process of how to create the funnel. Now, the reason why we want to go backwards is because psychologically, when you move forwards, when you write the first welcome email, the second email, and all that, it's actually very hard for the brain to think that way. In fact, if you start at the very last end goal, which is "buy my stuff," you'll begin to think of the missing pieces and how you can fill out, let's say, you have email number 12. You'll figure out email 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 very, very easily. And it actually, psychologically, you'll be able to speed it up. You'll be able to create a higher converting email funnel. So to kind of give you a brief idea, the emails before that should build a relationship, should hone in on the pain, because you got to assume that the people that are coming to this list are people that do not know you. But of course, if they know you, then that's even better. So what you're trying to do is do the worst case scenario where people do not know you. Create an email autoresponder series based on that. If you do that, you'll actually get a higher conversion rate. Obviously, there's no guarantee, but statistically from our own test, that's what we found. So in other words, most of your prospects aren't going to know you. They just have an issue or a problem that they want solved. In fact, most of them don't really care about you. They just want a solution to their problems. Now, of course, over time, as you write to them, you give them solutions to their problems, not the complete solution, which is going to be the end goal, the product or service or affiliate product, but little snippets of gold, little snippets of tips here and there. Over time, they will build a relationship with you. To make more sense, what I'm going to do now is break things down via a mind mapping software. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so now we are at Lucidchart, which is a flowchart system. Now, you don't need to use them. You can use anything that you would like to use. You can even use a piece of paper. The point being is that a lot of people, they tend to start with the welcome email, or they immediately go into "buy my stuff." And if you think about it from your own standpoint, if you're interested, but you're not really interested in any specific product, but you are interested in maybe solving your problem. I mean, who likes to go to car dealerships and have somebody hound over you to say "buy, buy, buy, buy," right? Most of us, unless we've done our own research before and we're there to buy, we're not ready, right? So that's why I say start at the very end. Start where you want to get people to buy your stuff and then move backwards. So if this is your, let's say, 6th email or even 12th email, doesn't matter. You just want to start at the very end. And then what we want to do is we want to move backwards. So we're going to move from here all the way back over here. So "buy my stuff" email back over here. Now you might be thinking, well, what exactly does that look like? So let's take, for example, the example that we talked about earlier about the survival product. So let's say, for example, that we are selling survival kits, maybe meal kits. So what is related to meal kits? So if you think about it, when you have an earthquake or you have a tornado and all the power grid has essentially been disabled and you don't have access to a microwave or anything like that, then how do you survive? So what kind of content could you essentially provide? So if we open up our little nifty notepad here, we could just start brainstorming survival meal kits. Maybe the top 10 ways to create your own survival meals. Now, maybe you want to talk about how to do it, and the whole process is very time consuming, right? So this might appeal to people who have a lot of time on their hands, but for the most part, most of your audience, they're not going to have a lot of time to actually do this, and that's why they're going to buy your survival meal kits, right? So maybe you can talk about top 10 ways to create your own like top number 10s, and start with the number 10 and then go to like 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 kind of thing. So maybe at the last one you mention that and you say, well, this process is very time consuming. So if you want to skip, if you don't have like 40 hours a week or something to create these meal kits, and you don't want to create it, and so if you want to skip that process, and you can start listing why are your meal kits better than everybody else, right? So in that case, you could say, well, they're better because they're freeze dried and they will last longer. So if you were to create it like a DIY, if you were to create it yourself, then maybe it would last like 1 month. But if you come with us, then ours will last like 12 months. So if you're out in the wilderness and you got 12 months, then these foods will last you about 12 months. I would start hitting on pain points, fears, power grid out. So not having power for more than a week. And that's happened. We've seen that in a lot of natural disasters where there's no power and there's literally no food in the grocery stores. And there's like chaos and everything like that. So the point is, how can you take these items here and then insert them into your top 10 ways? So when they sign up for top 10 ways to create your own survival meals, or even top 10 ways to survive in earthquake, then you start naming the top 10. So number 10, it can be, something. Number 9 can be something. And number 1, or you could do like top 5 ways, and then email them 5 emails. And by the 5th email, you've provided so much value that they are going to trust you. And then you can have the survival email kit. So then you can have the buy my stuff emails. So by working backwards, then we can say, okay, this can be top number 1. And then this can be 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we can work that in here. 2, 3, 4. So let's just do 4 just because the screen's so big enough. So top 4 reasons. Now I will say one thing that we've tested out is top 4 and 5 tend to work better. Anything beyond that tends to be a little bit more overwhelming unless you can fit that into other emails. So we found that actually the top 4 ways actually does really well. Top 4 or 5. So by this point, they're definitely going to want to stay to the number 1 way, right? So if you start with number 1 here and move backwards, That's fine if they're all equivalent, but if the biggest and the best way is number one here, leave the best for last, and that way they'll actually click through, right? So that's why I say start at this point. Now, if you wanted, you could do that as well. But if you start from this point, you begin to ask yourself, okay, what makes my product different than if you were to do it the manual way? So let's say, for example, that you were selling a piece of software. All right, same concept. So if we were selling software, for example, a lot of times with software, you want to show the manual process, meaning the time consuming process. In fact, if you notice, a lot of software companies nowadays are coming out with a lot of free training, free academy training type deals, because what they want to do is they want to show you how to do it for free. But then you realize, I don't want to do all this. I don't have much time in the day. I would rather buy a piece of software and speed the process up. But in order to get you to that point, they need to show you the value, right? In order to that, you need to see the value. So in that light, you could show the manual process. So let's show you a different scenario here. So let's move this down. So this is a totally different scenario here. So let's say, for example, you're selling a piece of software. So you could say, instead of saying top 4, 3, 2, 1, you could talk about the manual process. So this could be in the form of a blueprint, a secret plan, step-by-step plan, a video course. And then you talk about every single email. Maybe you send them to a 5-minute video, which, by the way, if you do videos, make sure that your videos are short and sweet, especially if they are kind of lead magnet type videos. It's fine if it's a video course that they just purchased, like this one right here, but keep in mind that they have a short attention span. So if you do this, maybe the first thing would be, if this is a blueprint, what I would do is I would do a PDF, like a PDF blueprint. And then you say, in the next coming days or weeks, I'm going to show you step by step how to set things up. So we'll say step 1, step 2, and then step 3. So what you're doing here is you're showing that they need all of these emails in order to create a complete system. If you give everything up front at the first email, they're not going to have a reason to stay, right? So you want to make sure that you have it so that this is a complete system. So if they unsubscribe here, it's going to feel incomplete. Now, if you think closely about a movie, for example, a lot of times our brains don't like incomplete. So if you were to watch a movie and you saw even half of it, in your brain, usually you will think, I want to see the whole thing, right? If I only saw half, I want to see the whole thing. That's why our brains do not like complete. So that's what I'm showing you here. Now, in practical sense, what does that look like? Now, if you start out, welcome to, let's say, survival meal kits. So the first email will be a welcome email. Now, you want to make sure that you connect the emails. So at the end of the first email, and you talk about the top 4 reason or whatever that looks like, then you want to connect that somehow to the top number 3 in that first email. So you want to say something like, P.S. I'm going to send you an email tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or whatever on top number 3. The second email is going to be, all right, so we talked about this in the first email. Let's talk about top point number 3. And then, of course, in the PS, you're going to say, I'm going to send you an email in 2 days for top point number 4. So actually that's 4, 3, 3, 2, not 4. So that's 2. So I don't really need to go on, but the point is you need to connect them. So now that the arrows are going this way, we can actually move the arrows back. So the reason why I go backwards is because you take a little bit of content here and you move backwards. You take a little bit of content here and you move backwards. So when they sign up for this, they're naturally going to want this content, this content, this content here, and they're naturally going to want this content here. Believe it or not, this is the same strategy that we have used to get literally 50% open rates and 20% click-through rates, which is just insane. We've even seen in different niches 75% open rates, which is crazy. So as long as you understand this process and you follow along with the backward funnel and you write these emails in this way, connect to the right person and talk directly to them, you'll actually get a better conversion rate. So I hope that helped you. It's simple, but it's powerful.